The Flying Lion says,
boys, hell is real.
2023 Supporter Shield champs.
So glad that I can be back with people who know that it's a Flying Lion.
It shows how much we all love this club.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
It's definitely tougher to be an academy player than it is a pro.
In this club, you don't play just for the club, you play for the fight.
Jersey swap, car of the week, trivia question of the week.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Flying Lion podcast. We have a special guest with us tonight. I want to thank Kevin for joining us again. For those who have listened before, Kevin's been on the show a few times, but I appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yeah, happy to be here. Been a while. Happy to be back.
What are your thoughts on the season so far? I don't think we've had you on this season.
No, it have been. We're tied for first for the Shield right now. It's hard to be disappointed. There's a couple games you'd like to have back that were kind of rough, but overall you can't be too upset with the success that they've had so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like I was telling you before the episode started, like we have 7 games left. It's crazy how fast it's crazy. But tied for first, technically second, now on Supporters Shield, whichever way you want to look at it. I mean, first in the East is pretty special. But yeah, so we'll cover this match day 29 against Portland, an awesome 3-2 win away. Second part of the episode, we did have some breaking news from today. So I'm glad we waited to record, on this Tuesday for some contract information for some player signings. So we'll get into all of that. But first things first, this recap of this Portland game. First ever trip to Providence Park in Portland. Kevin, I think I'd like to get up there at some point. It looked pretty awesome for an atmosphere.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you can tell those fans are really passionate, and I know they've been around for a long time as far as the club goes. So I think, little trip to the Pacific Northwest would be fun. Get a Flying Line trip out there sometime.
Yeah, no, that'd be a blast. I think we had maybe close to 100 supporters that were there as well. So shout out to the traveling Daley for making that trip. I think the players all felt their presence. But it was also Evander's return to Portland. We had seen a little bit of talk ahead of time, some comments from him. Not sure kind of what the reception was going to be. And man, he got booed. He had some chants against him. What a wild time I'm sure it was for Evander.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. I mean, you kind of feel it like when Acosta came back, our fans weren't the nicest to him. You get a little upset with people that leave you on not good circumstances. There's some others from the FCC past that, get worse than Acosta did, but, probably as bad as Evander was getting there. So it's part of the game. I mean, you're probably upset on the personal level, but I think you made him pay pretty well today. So it was a win for Evander in the long run.
What a revenge game for him, if you want to call it like revenge. But compared to the way Lucho played in Cincinnati, the reception they got, very similar. But Evander balled out, like you said. I mean, what a great game by him. So lineup wise, a little bit of some surprises. We had, I believe, Orishano was out in this one. And then Denke actually made his way back in. We had Ender start up top with him. Otherwise, the back line looked very similar, but we actually had Engel out wide this time. Hagglund slapped back into the starting lineup there. And then we had one Steven Jimenez. Kevin, give us your breakdown on what you thought of him starting at the young age of 18.
Yeah, I mean, crazy that it's the first MLS start. He had one Leagues Cup against Chivas, and then he came in for about 15 off the bench versus Charlotte. But other than that, he only has 2 MLS appearances, and neither of them were this year. So he came in for a couple of minutes in 2014, and then literally 1 minute was his MLS debut. I don't remember, you and I were at that game. It was when we were up 3-1 on Toronto in 2013. And Pat threw him in there for a couple minutes at 16 at the end of the game is kind of we're winning so good, we're going to put a 16-year-old in. So cool to see him make his first start. It's a little rocky as we'll get into in a couple of circumstances, but I mean, for an 18-year-old kid, just incredible talent for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Sam and I have been talking about all year the fact that like Steven's been on the bench, and it's like, when is he going to get his moment, to shine and to do what he can do? He had a terrible injury last year. He broke his ankle. He was out for 16 or 17 months. But in the last 2 weeks, I think the broadcasters were really touching on it well. He shined in training. He shined, I felt like in the Chivas game, he didn't really have a good chance, in the Charlotte match due to the circumstances. But yeah, man, I think he deserved to get some of that time and in some ways played well. But like you said, we'll talk about the other half of it too. But first part of this game, I mean, what a dream of a half for FC Cincinnati. I would say arguably one of the better ones of the year, considering the circumstance on the road, with players kind of in and out. But Kevin Denke struck first in the 10th minute of the game. What did you see in this goal?
Oh, I mean, just a beautiful ball by Buka, and then, I mean, just a super clean dummy by Evander. The goalie was 100% focused on him. He got to have to be with Evander. And just, I mean, perfectly knew that Denke was over his back shoulder and was able to let the ball go through. And then, I mean, just a quick touch to settle it by Denke, and then just drove it right past. I mean, the goalie was diving for it at that point. It was just super clean across those front three. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, between the three, those guys had great games.
For sure.
But what a moment. I mean, like you said, Evander, to have the presence of mind to know that Denke's there. I mean, they hadn't really played together necessarily for a month, but to have that understanding, like, oh, well, he's going to receive it and shoot it. I mean, how nice is it to have a true out-and-out number 9 that can score, in those situations? But to put us up on the road, kind of quiet the crowd a little bit. Awesome moment. That was his 13th goal of the MLS season for him. I still have kind of a running bet with Sam on how many goals he's going to get. I think my over-under was about 20 for the year, and he's getting up there in all competitions. So we'll see where that goes. But shortly after, 15 minutes later, we get another. What a play by Powell Buka. Another ball, again, by Evander through. Buka does all the work in this one and has a really nice finish. Kind of on like wouldn't say a ball that was bouncing up, but he really kind of hits it. I think it might have deflected too, if I saw a replay on it. What did you see?
I mean, just super clean by both of them. I mean, I feel like Buka's been really finding like an offensive gear the last couple of months, and it's just great to see him finish one like this. I mean, it clean by everybody on it, and it's, I guess, not necessarily assist number 2 by Evander, but I mean, that dummy can be pretty much counted as one. It's just, brilliant play from all the guys.
They should definitely count the dummy as an assist.
Oh, right.
That's definitely a moment that creates the goal there. And if you want to call like third, assist, I guess, or like the hockey assist an assist.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And call the, dummy an assist.
Yeah, secondary assist. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, but 2-0 on the road in Portland. I mean, you couldn't hear anything from there. You could probably hear our supporters, on the broadcast, because at that point, 2-0, 25 minutes in, like, I'm feeling good. But this is FC Cincinnati, Kevin. We're talking about a team that doesn't like to win by multiple goals.
No, and is not playing with a lead has never been their strong suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, especially this year, or even last year too. But we got a third. I mean, Evander just again saying, I'm back. I'm in Portland. I'm comfortable on this pitch, maybe, on the turf. But what a rocket by him into the upper 90. I think that in this play, Miazga wins the ball. He plays it up to Evander, who kind of turns and rips that shot. And it was 3-0 before you could even look and say, oh my gosh, like, wow, 3-0.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it was kind of a lost ball by Portland, and it was kind of going to one of their forwards, and Miazga stepped up kind of in front of the Portland player who was standing there waiting for it, fired it forward. I saw somewhere that I think this is his first goal contribution since 2013 or 2023. Sorry.
Wow.
Obviously out most of last year, and but just good to see him getting involved. And then I think, with the way the crowd was reacting, him doing his little to the ear celebration, and Miazga right there with his, little attitude that he's got for sure. I mean, little attitude, huge attitude he's got with his arm around Evander as he's giving the crowd the, okay, like, what are you saying now? Just cool to see that from our acting captain, supporting and actually getting involved on a play, not just defensively like he is always amazing at, getting his foot on the ball on the offensive zone and helping his teammate drive it home. It's cool to see.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout. I didn't realize that it was since 2023.
I mean, he missed quite a bit of time, obviously, but he's been a while since he'd had any offensive contribution. So cool to see.
Yeah, I would have imagined like on a free kick somewhere he would have had one, but I guess not. So that's cool to see. It was Evander's 16th goal of the MLS season. He's now, I think, at 20 goals overall in all competitions, which puts him, I think, one behind now, behind Lucho for most goals within a season in all competitions for FC Cincinnati. Cool. Pretty cool moment, like you said, with the celebration. I don't think the chance towards Evander started until after he did that. So
I thought they were before.
They started doing
maybe he earned them.
So I'm pretty sure that was a little bit of a provoking there, but yeah, I mean, he was heated. I think if you look at the players talking about the moment for Evander before the match, they said, hey, we're going to go out and win this for you. We know how much this means to you. I had kind of covered it on the pregame, I guess, last episode and just saying like, look, I think this means a lot more to him than what we're making credit for. But at the same token, Kevin Kelsey was playing pretty inspired in this one, our former FC Cincinnati striker. I'd be remiss to miss the moment early on where Roman and him go up for a header. Kelsey hits the crossbar. It could have easily been 1-0 Portland prior to all of the goals we got. And then shortly after the Evander goal, Kelsey comes back and scores a quick one. So, again, inspired Evander playing back in Portland, but even more Kevin Kelsey to say, hey, look, FC Cincinnati, I know you guys didn't pick up my contract and what you thought, I might have been worth. I'm going to go and show you that I'm actually worth more than that. And 2 goals on the night for him.
Yeah, I mean, great game from him. It was a little bit of a revenge game for Evander, might be a little bit of a revenge game for Kevin Kelsey. Can't blame him. I mean, he's a young guy too. And his footwork on that first goal that he actually scored is kind of a little bit of missed coverage maybe by Engel and Robinson. I think they were kind of both coming up to support Steven a little bit. And then he's on the outside, stays onside, gets the ball, and then just drives the net, stops, comes back. And I mean, literally Robinson, Engel, and Jimenez were on the ground trying to get back. And he kind of made him look stupid a little bit and just picked his spot and buried it behind Roman. It was lurking in the right spot and saw our defenders getting up out of position, trying to support the younger guys. My guess why they were out of place a little bit and, took advantage, drove it home. It was a good goal by him for sure.
Yeah, it was the composure that we missed from him last year, honestly. Like, I think a lot of moments that Pat Noonan was telling him, like, calm down. You'd see him pick up the ball and shoot it from outside the box. In this one, like you said, he's pretty calm, cool, collected, puts it on his left and slots it away. It was a nice finish. It was 3-1 going into half at that point. The second half, we had chances. It could have easily been 4-5-2. Denke had one that was saved in the 47th minute. Kai Kamara hits the bar on one. Buka goes one-on-one with the keeper. I mean, we're talking quality chances to go up. But then the Jimenez moment happens, 65th minute. Of course, we got to make it a 1-goal game. So what did you see in this play?
Yeah, the ball's kind of bouncing around. It goes off. Hagglund tries to kind of clear, but it doesn't get a good touch on it and goes sideways, and it gets to one of Portland's players. And, Jimenez kind of, it is pretty obvious call. The ref got it right away. He just cleats up a little, I think it was pretty close to the guy's knee, maybe even like upper leg a little bit. Sloppy defending from a young guy. Honestly, possibly could have saved a goal in that way if he had been a little bit cleaner. But the fact that he, came in pretty aggressive and cost us a goal. And like we said earlier, Kevin Kelsey's playing his revenge game. He gets to put on the spot, with the hot boot and puts it past Roman for his second of the night. And, he's a young guy. Hopefully he can, dust himself off, keep playing and come back for us strong. Nothing to worry about. We won the game overall.
Yeah, no, great interpretation of it. I felt like it was kind of a tough play for him because it's a play where he's kind of turning, he's going for the ball. It's almost like a 50-50, but he's late, like you said, and he catches the guy. It's a learning moment. I think a lot of our players at first wanted to argue it, but then if you look back at it, it's like, he catches him.
He caught him. And it was called right away. I mean, there's no need for VAR or anything on that. The ref was in great position for it. It very, very clearly what happened there, and unfortunate, but it's a young guy. He was a tough ball. It wasn't cleared cleanly by the rest of the people in our team. So if somebody else had got a better touch on it, it wouldn't have happened. So he's just scrambling and gets caught with one. And it was honestly fair call.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love his aggressiveness. I feel like for how little he is, he really goes at it pretty hard. But that's a moment, like, again, that we need to learn from a little bit there. But at that point, Kevin, we're talking about 30 minutes plus, that Portland has, where they're only down a goal. They're at home. They're kind of building in momentum. And we kind of go into a little bit of Pat Noonan ball, that we've been calling it towards the end of the game. We did get the Kai Kamara sub in for Denke around the 60th minute. I believe Dado comes in at one point as well. And we just kind of bunker back once again. I don't think I've gotten to ask you this directly, but what's your thought on kind of the end game closing out games? Obviously in this one, you close it out, you get 3 points. It's just become more of a trend of things. Maybe we like to see it a little bit cleaner.
I think, stick to the standard game plan of, keep your foot on the gas a little bit. I mean, we come out so strong, and I understand you can't exert that much energy for 90 minutes, but I think that's what your subs are for. I think, and it's been biting us in the butt a lot, where you get into a 1-goal game or you're not playing strong with a lead, and then you give the other team a break, and then it's all of a sudden, no goal lead, or you give up multiple and you end up losing the match. I mean, it's happened too many times this season, or, a close game like the last one where it's 0-0, it's really neck and neck. And then there's the red card. And then, okay, well, now we're on the back foot and you're defending and playing Pat Noonan ball with only 10 guys on the pitch. I never like taking the foot off the gas in that sense. I understand why you got to conserve some energy in that, but it's a lot easier to, I guess, defend a multiple win goal game. And we've got the talent on the field. And if we're having a game where we're scoring 3 goals, keep your foot on the gas. Maybe they're getting tired, they're getting desperate, and, maybe, I don't know, try and bury it in their end a little bit more than give the ball them and just wait for them to attack. I'm not paid to coach a team, but that's just how I see it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's really just keeping that foot on the pedal, and it's not like we didn't have chances. It's just putting those away, and that's the fine margins in the MLS. Part of that goes into the fact that in the 75th minute, Miles Robinson goes down with an injury. Yeah. So your back line gets shifted a little bit. He did grab his right lower leg. He was going to stretch, I believe, to block one of the crosses. Rumor has it right now that he's not training this week, but we'll see where he's at towards the end of the week. Hopefully it's not a long-term thing. We have some important games coming up. So hopefully it's not something, long-term for Miles. But in this one, hey, it ends 3-2. We get 3 points, for a solid day there. We felt like we're in the top of the MLS. Unfortunately, San Diego gets the result they get.
Sure.
But like I mentioned earlier on in the episode, first in the East, second in Supporter Shield, just on goal differential. You got to be feeling solid about that, and a great win, on the road out west. So some stats that we have for this one, one that came out after the match was the fact that Evander's goals from outside the 18, it's been a constant thing all season. I think I tweeted it out as well on his goal. His 9th of the year from outside of the 18, 10th is the record in the last 10 seasons, and I believe that was Giovinco who had that before him. So Evander's just continuing to show that he's dangerous. Don't give him space.
No, what he does with the ball, I don't understand the physics of it. If it leaves his boot and it sometimes curves, sometimes makes it look like an S in the middle of the air, it's incredible. And he just can pick his spot from so far out and bury it. It's so fun to watch. I mean, I feel like my expectations are high watching him every match, and they grow higher and higher every single time. The dude's incredible. Such a good pickup by our front office to bring him in. In Portland, I feel like, there wasn't happy there. There was some drama. You know how that goes with FC Cincinnati a little bit after last year. But I think just the change of venue for him has been incredible. And I think it's been a great match. I hope we can keep him around a long time. He's the one that we get a statue built of out front, depending on how the rest of the season and the next couple seasons with him go.
That's a great point. I mean, like, if you look at a new player coming into, not necessarily a new league, but a new team where a lot of different pieces around him, he's not familiar with. No. None of them really. So, and for him to have the year that he's had just shows how class he is, how much influence he has on some of the players around him, but just how he can take over matches. And that's really kind of reflected. He gets the team of the match day, his 9th nod of the season for team of the match day. I think it's got to be up there for one of the most in the MLS. Pavel Buka, Kevin, he gets his first one. I was really surprised by this, that he didn't have another team of the match day honor. So kind of crazy. And then you shouted out here, I like this one, that Kevin Kelsey actually made the bench for Portland and getting a brace too. So all FCC ties, in those three that got the nods. But some big storylines come out of this one. We had no Luciano, we had no Anunga, but hey, no problem. We found a way to win. Steven stepped up in a big way. I feel like just because we didn't really have anyone else, I don't think Dotto really fits that necessarily in that role as that 8 or that 6, I guess I should say. So that was one of them. The second one, we got 7 matches to go. So regular season, we got 3 teams now at the top that are 51 or 52 points, another 3 teams at 47. It's insane, the margins between these. You have to tune in to almost every match and kind of see what's going on. 4 out of the 5 next teams that we play are in playoff spots. So we're going to be coming down to the wire. Every moment is going to count. Glad to see that they got this result. But your thoughts on how tight this race is going to be towards the end of the season?
Oh, I mean, incredibly tight. And you got to remember that the one that probably is hunting us the most is Miami, and they've got the 3 games in hand still. So they're going to be really cranking out points there at the end of the season when we're kind of a little bit lax. They're just going to be watching, and all of a sudden they're going to be 3 points closer, 3 points closer. Hopefully they drop a couple, but they're just, they're coming for you. Philly's close. I mean, God, we just traded away Baird, and he's probably going to go over and score 20 goals on the West's leaders. It's just it's going to be tight. And I think there's another shield for us if they keep the pedal on. I mean, like I said earlier, there's a couple matches in the past couple of months that you wish they'd maybe not dropped or gotten a point in. I think the key is going to be they're going to come out to play in those matches versus the playoff teams. You gotta win 3 points in those lower seeded teams. I mean, you can't come out and assume it's an easy game. You gotta play every game like there are 3 points you depend on them, because at this point it's going to be it's going to be tight, and I think they can do it, but they maybe can drop one game, maybe 2-3 draws if they drop a game, but they can't really drop more than that. And I don't think they will. I mean, they're playing some good football recently, so hopefully they keep it up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you're kind of looking at from Pat Noonan's standpoint here, Kevin, you have 4 out of the 5 next teams that you're playing in those playoff spots, and in a high playoff spots to mention that too, with Philly, with Nashville. So I guess my question to you, do you treat this kind of like the playoffs and say like, all right, treat this towards like, you're at the end of the season, you win this one, you advance to the next match. The next match, you're going to play another team that's going to be in that same position. So I think there's somewhat of a blessing there in disguise where it's like, all right, we're playing these tough matches. We kind of see where we're stack up. And then, like you said, if we do draw, we can kind of see, the next month, how do we fare against these teams? How can we make adjustments against them? It's not like, oh, we're just, train wrecking teams we should beat. You're going to be playing good competition. If you want to look at it from that standpoint, obviously, I'd take easy points, but I think you have to treat it almost like you win, you advance, you win, you advance. And if you're going for that Shield trophy, I mean, it's going to be very difficult. So
sure.
We'll see how that goes. Final storyline I got from you for this one, 1 goal games in MLS play. So 20 of 27 matches have been decided by 1 goal or a draw. Does that set us up well for playoff matches, in your opinion?
I think we can, we know how to win those close games. I think they need to learn how to play with a lead better. That's just critical for this team. They come out so hot. I mean, they can score in the first 15 of every game, it seems like recently, and, a couple games notwithstanding, but, they're just for the first time in a long time, I feel like our team is really offensively minded, especially with Denke get back healthy, having him and Evander click more. Buka's been firing up there. I think kind of filling that other top striker spot, whether it's Kamara or Dotto or Shano sometimes has been sliding in there. Or the new guy that started there this past game. I think getting that top 3, top 5, I guess, kind of set is going to be critical. Getting everybody healthy is going to be critical. I think Kubo is supposed to be back soon, maybe having him, play the midfield and as a little bit more support Gives you a little bit of option if we are up some. You put in him, and that way Buka and Anunga, or eventually some of these new guys, or maybe Obi, depending on his injury. I think getting healthy is going to be critical, and learning to play better with a lead is going to be the way this team succeeds.
Yeah, no, great shout. I think that's great to think about, especially since last season, we had a pretty solid defense. Obviously, we had some rotation in the back line just from injury. But the question was, who's going to score? And then this season, now you have consistent guys with Evander doing that, Denke doing that as well, and some other guys that have filled in nicely. So, yeah, it's really coming down to towards the end of the match, can we then hold on to it? So I think that's a great point. And it'll really show from this team, like, can we put in a solid 90 minutes plus for every single one of these matches? So that's what I'm really looking forward to in the next 5 games is how do we look in those high pressure situations? I think we'll hopefully, have the lead in some of those matches. I'd prefer that than coming back. Obviously, we haven't shown to be as great in that historically. But yeah, no, that's a good point. I think it'll set us up well. We just have to be able to close it out, and we'll see if we can do that. But before we go to a break here, we do have a trivia question for you, Kevin. What is the most amount of road wins FC Cincinnati has had in a season?
So I was having to think about this one a little bit. Our best record, obviously, is the Shield season 2023. I remember they were incredible at home that year. Overall, they had, 69 points, so 20 wins, 9 draws. So, okay, how many of those were at home? I think, just based on the math, I think that they had, of 20 wins, I think they had, I think they had, was it 13 at home? So I think that puts us at like 7 road wins. I think that's going to be my guess. I don't think they were better on the road last year than they were. I don't think they were better on the road last year than they were in 2023, although they were pretty good, and they've been good this year. So, 2023, 7 road wins is my guess. We'll see what, get in the comments, see what people say about that, and see if I'm right or see if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you'll find out at the end of the episode, and we'll see if he's right. So we'll be right back. Hey everyone, just a quick message from Ryan and Sam here at the Flying Lion Podcast. We wanted to share some exciting news with you. The Flying Lion Podcast has officially partnered with Chatterbox Sports. We are very excited to be a part of the Chatterbox community, as they have proven to give you the very best coverage of Cincinnati sports thus far.
For those who are new to the Flying Line Podcast, we cover FC Cincinnati news, game recaps, analysis, and unique segments such as our trivia question of the week, jersey swap of the week, card of the week. Give us a listen on our post-match shows on every away game on Chatterbox YouTube and our weekly episodes wherever you get your podcast. Thank you again for your support.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. A fun week for FC Cincinnati. Back on top, kind of. We're even with San Diego, but I feel like we're in a good spot where we're at. It's ours for the taking, honestly. And what more could you want from that? You go, you win, and you put yourself, right in that driver's seat for a potential trophy. Another shield. Ultimately, I think a cup is what we're after. But shoot, man, the way the season's been, like, I'll take a shield for sure. It is a winning week. So, Kevin, we're going to start with our jersey swaps. Who did you have this week?
So, Evander's the easy choice. I mean, he's going into his former team. He's got the great dummy, then the great assist, and then the great goal. Like, it's the easy choice. I do want to shout out Denke. Obviously both named Kevin. So, gotta support each other out there. He just looked really good. Look, I mean, I know the game plan for him was have him play the first 45 and see how he was feeling, and obviously scoring 10 minutes in. Great touch, then great finish on that ball after the dummy and the assist from Buka. And then again in the second half had a great shot on net and then came out pretty soon after that. Great to see him looking well, but obviously, this week I'm swapping with Evander.
Yeah, no, I agree with both. I think Denke was a surprise in some ways, just how quick like he came in and was able to score there. But I shouldn't be like this dude's a tank.
No,
He's unbelievable. His record has just been crazy good. Even in Belgium last year too. So I'm excited to see him just down the stretch really kind of turn into form again, like he was at the beginning of the season. And those two connecting well is going to be the key. Obviously, they're the highest played players, but also the most productive. And
sure.
That's all you can want out of your DPs. So I think that's a good shout. My jersey swap this week is going to be Pavel Buka. I felt like his goal was just very well taken. You mentioned it early on in the episode, but his offensive production this year has been a lot more than last year. He's kind of settled into a little bit more of a attacking role, and I feel like he's gelled well and even better with some of the players that we've put around him, with Evander, with Denke. Obviously solid players, but they're not always going to gel well. And for them to actually be able to play that well together and for him to be productive like he has, I felt like he had a really good match again in this one and has shown to be, I think, like, obviously Evander's the most valuable player, but I think Buka's the most important. Again, like we've said it before, he's just what drives this team. So he is due for, I believe, a contract to get bumped up for next year. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. I mean, you saw those games when he was out, just how truly important he is to this team. They were those are some of the worst matches for FC Cincinnati this season when he was gone. And obviously you want maybe a little bit more depth there so that, when we get people healthy, we got some new people coming in, maybe he's not playing 90 every single week, or even more, depending on how many cup games or whatever we've got. But he's just a truly incredible player. I mean, great find from the front office. And like you said, just great chemistry with Evander and both Obi and Anunga. And I mean, I don't know how much chemistry there necessarily was this week, but he's had a rotating cast next to him and he's been solid when he's been healthy.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I didn't think about even having an 18-year-old next to you. How is that going to impact your play and, your leadership and kind of commanding, hey, how do we work together? And it almost looked like seamless. Obviously there's moments, and even the PK, that's not necessarily like their relationship on the pitch or where each other are positionally. That's just a moment of, kind of a fluke, but I just felt like he commands that well. He's very soft-spoken in some ways, but his leadership is in his play, in his positioning, and you can kind of see him commanding other players around him on like, hey, there's a guy here or there. I think what Steven's really learned from Buka and playing next to him in this short amount of time, if you look at Pavel where he's at in the middle of the pitch, he's always moving his head around. Like, I feel like he's an owl. Like, I feel like his head just goes all the way around at all points in the match. He's always looking, where's the other player in the midfield? Where's the guy out wide? How can I put myself in that position? And I wonder if he's told Steven, like, hey, this is how you do it. And that's only going to benefit us. That's only going to benefit this new player we're going to talk about here soon too, in the midfield. So yeah, I think Pavel's just an unreal player. Let's find another one of him too. But on the flip side, Kevin, what did you have for a card of the week?
So last time I was on, my card of the week was whatever witch cursed Corey Baird, because he could not find a goal at the beginning of the season last season when I was on. Turns out he couldn't find one pretty much the rest of the time with us, but he seemed cursed. And I am going to call out that same witch that cursed him for cursing Kamara. The dude's been snake bit. He's been super fun to watch with the team. I mean, he's just incredible heart. I mean, for his age, and he's just in crazy athletic shape. Just such a fun player to watch. Little stressful at times, but just seems like an all-around great dude as well. And just snake bit. I mean, he had the post or the crossbar again this week. I just want to see him bury one. I want to see the celebration. He deserves one for how much work he's been putting in for the squad. And I'm excited to see, whoever it is. And last time after I said I gave the witch a card, Baird actually scored one about a week or two later. So maybe this is me breaking the curse, calling them out again. So if Kamara gets one, you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, we need you to come on this show and call out people that are having slumps, I guess. So, I love this card. I think Kamara has just got a lot of slack online, honestly, from fans. There's a lot of like, hey, I'm sick of the Kai Kamara experience and everything. But, like you said, he works so hard, and obviously that goes so far. Strikers need to score. But I would prefer that guy that's busting his butt at 40 years old. He's experienced, is up top holding the ball up. Like, that's what we need right now. I think until Jabari is ready, maybe he can teach him a thing or two and passes that torch along. But yeah, he's definitely cursed. Like, he's hit the bar multiple times. He's, I think, had like insane saves by some of the keepers on the shot.
Yeah, a couple of them that he's just, his output should be way higher for the chances that he's been generating. And I mean, just a little snake bit. Yeah. Hopefully it goes away now that I'm, trying to clear the curse.
Thank you, Kevin. We're going to say it in advance.
Hopefully.
This week he's going to score. He's going to do it against NYCFC. I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that we drafted him, in an expansion draft and immediately traded him away. Is there some sort of like voodoo there with that?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'm not super witchy, but, I'm calling him out. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, I love that card. That's a funny one. On mine, my card of the week was the player lack of availability for the new signings. So we did get confirmation. Samuel Gidi is officially announced, and then Ayub Jabari as well. Obviously, Ender is playing. Glad to see him out there. That was announced over a month, maybe 6 weeks ago. But our other two guys, we have 7 matches left, and they're not even training with the team. So, whether this is a us issue, it's not really an us issue or FCC issue. It's more of a league problem where, down the stretch, you want to see these impact signings come in and affect the team in a positive way, but you only have so many games to do so. We're bringing in, Jabari as a striker on loan, and he's got maybe 10 matches to go and prove himself and earn a contract. Like, it's unfortunate the timing of where the summer window lines up, for internationally to where the MLS is. And then, when they're finally able to sign, well, they're not even able to come and play yet because they haven't gotten their visas. So there's a big issue. And then for me, the second part of this is you see like Son with LAFC, you see Rodrigo De Paul. Some of these A-list, football players have already gotten their visas. They've been able to play within a week of signing, and then some of the other guys don't get to play for weeks. So there's a huge discrepancy in that as well, and I just think it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, you really want to see your guys come and play. I mean, even if they couldn't necessarily be, playing in games yet, it would be nice if they could at least get in training, meet the guys, get some reps in. How much have we talked about chemistry tonight? You really just need the guys to gel. And the last thing you want is it's, second to last week of the season. There's a couple games left and we have to put in one of our new guys for whatever circumstance. And there's just a couple miscues and, we miss out on a cup for something like that. You just want these guys to be able to come in and just succeed at what, all you want them to do is come in and play some soccer. You don't want them to have to deal with all of the red tape. You just, that's the front office's job. That's the government's job, whoever. Try and get this done. Let's get him on the pitch. Let's get him in training. Let's go. Enough messing around.
Yeah, no, so that kind of rolls into my next discussion of like, when are these guys going to be available? Like, we just got confirmation of the Samuel Gidi signing. We talked about him last time, a crucial piece, in the midfield. We need that depth. So he officially signed this morning through 2028, a U22 initiative. I think it's going to be a little bit of an integration period for him to get solid minutes with the team. One nice part about this compared to last year, though, Kevin, would you agree with me? Our striker last year that we had on loan had to come in and, try to be that guy right away. Whereas our signings this year, they don't necessarily have to be that impact person. Thank goodness for this team. They're more complementary pieces. So if that's the blessing out of it, I'll take that. It's just, I think coming down the stretch, let's see how important some of these guys can be. Number one, and number two, the health of the team. You touched on it earlier, but getting Kubo healthy, getting, Miles back, hopefully, or Shano, and then keeping them sustainably healthy over the end of the season. It'll be interesting to see, but I'm excited for it, but the availability is up in the air a little bit too.
Me too. I'm particularly excited about this Gidi one. I mean, he's a U22 signing. We need to get an international slot figured out for him to come in, I think, is the next move that the front office has got to make. But we've got him through 2028. I mean, this is a young guy that, hopefully he comes in and, if Obi moves on or whatever, he's the next man up for this. And we, have some depth at midfield. We know who the next guy is going to be. It's, as much as you want him to come in, start gelling this season, this is a signing for the future as well, which is a great move. Sure. I mean, just constantly be developing, bringing up, having your next man up ready is super crucial. So
yeah, good point. Cause you're not even like forcing, an issue with things too, where it's like, you're just trying to fit them into this roster. Like this is a long-term play, but could help, in the interim as well. So that's a good shout. I think part of this as well is that he may take he's going to take a senior roster spot. So are we going to have to clear out one more player? I think Louro confirmed today one more senior roster spot is going to have to be cleared out. So of the players we have, Kevin, any thoughts on who we might see going out?
Hey, I don't know if they can maybe do some magic with, a long-term injury spot, if Obi's not going to be coming back, or if Santos isn't going to be coming back. Maybe there's something they can do there, keep the guy in the organization, but clear up a roster spot for the rest of the year.
Sure.
Other than that, I mean, I feel like it's probably Santos if I had to guess. You're bringing in Ender, you're bringing in Jabari, you've got Kamara has been playing better. Santos has been fun in a lot of streaks, but he also is pretty worrisome, and I feel like he's cost us a couple of very critical games in the past. So, I feel he's probably the one on the outs. What about you?
Yeah, no, that's a good shout. For making $900,000 a year and being injured every other match, like I think it's hard to have Santos continuously, being paid that much and not producing or not even being available. That's the bigger thing, not even being available. If you look at his Instagram recently, like he was on the beach somewhere. I don't know if that was a flashback to a different time, but why is he not even with the side? If that's true, I'm not sure about that. My other thought was, Alec Kann is the other one. It's the obvious one. We have Paul Walters, in a supplemental spot. We have Evan Louro. We have 3 keepers. And then we have so we have 4 guys, on this roster. Somebody out there may need a keeper, or do we just clear his salary and say, hey, we need this spot, for an outfield player? I think Kann would be the other one. He hasn't played. He wasn't even a part of Leagues Cup. That would have been the other, tournament for him to get minutes back from injury. And Louro took that spot. So I think you got to look at clearing Kann at some point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you got to go with, I think, with the youth talent on that for the cup, and that's kind of what happened there. I mean, he's a good dude. He was thought to be the starter until he got hurt, and Celentano took the job from him, and he's kept it. I mean, he's been incredible for us the last several seasons. So, I feel like one of the elder statesmen between Santos and Kann's probably time for them to move on, if I had to guess.
Well, and maybe we even see like, maybe Kann steps away and becomes more of like a academy, like goalkeeper coach or something for FCC. Yeah. I've heard, a lot of news about, him being involved with the younger keepers. I think we even had one of the other guys from the academy came on and chatted with us about that. And he's since moved on. So there is an opening right now for a goalkeeper coach position. So what a better time, to transition him, from that and say, hey, we'll still pay you just in a different way. I don't know if you're ready to retire, but that's what we have to offer. If not, like, we bid you adieu, go find, another squad. But I think that's where you might see a little bit of an opening. Santos, though, was a good shout. Kevin, I dug this one up online. I found it. Brian Reynolds is a U.S. right wing back. I had seen a rumor he plays for Westerlo. He was formerly of FC Dallas, of Roma as well, and a solid player. He's still 24 years old, so there's a rumor right now that we're interested in signing him. Clearly this season, like, we don't have the space, but, is this a potential DeAndre Yedlin replacement down the line? I think they're starting to look more towards a steady right wing back of the future. So whether or not this happens now, probably not. I think you're looking towards the off season. But from all that I've seen, Brian Reynolds wants to leave. He had some interest in Germany, I believe, from the Bundesliga as well. So maybe it's a loan, if anything, if we can clean up even another spot. But any thoughts on like what the future might look with, right wing back?
I mean, it's a weird time to talk about it because I feel like Yedlin had one of his better games recently against Portland. I mean, he put on a clinic over there. I feel like our wingback spot actually feels pretty good recently. I feel like Engel coming up and Luciano playing, and even like those guys coming off the bench have been pretty solid. Ender came in there for a part of one game too. I thought that would be the role that he would be filling more.
True.
He and Luciano on either side was, I thought, was going to be the game plan for the future. I mean, at this point, I pretty much trust the front office. They've been doing fantastic. I'm not fully engaged in soccer across the globe, so obviously that's their job. They're bringing in, they have scouts all across the world, and if people see us and want to come to our squad and we think they're going to be a good fit, I mean, that's great. That if we're drawing top level talent or any talent whatsoever, just we're being seen as one of the top sides at the MLS, bringing people in, you got to at least listen to them. And hopefully whatever they figure out there, I don't know how many more seasons Yedlin has like on contract, or just he's getting up there in age too. But right now I feel like fitting anybody else in on our squad when we're already trying to figure out the two signings that are we already have more or less confirmed. I'm sure there's some magic that can be worked in the front office, but we'll have to see what happens. At this point, I don't want to lose anybody on our squad, trade anybody away or anything.
Sure.
So, you got to kind of see how much are you gaining if you lose a piece that's already established.
Yeah, no. And towards the end of the season, you're right. You're not going to trade away, some of your mainstay guys, especially with the connection that, Miles has built. With Yedlin towards the end of the season here. That's what you want for the playoffs. You want that established relationship. You don't want to bring in a new guy and say, we're going to trust you to go out and do that. So that's why I don't think this is necessarily like real for this year. But I like the front office is being proactive. I think you put it well in the fact that, hey, in Chris we trust. We've seen what he's done, and look what he did today. Miles Robinson extends. This is kind of out of the blue, but not really. Miles had, I guess the final year of his contract with potentially an option, but could have been a free agent. This offseason, there was teams from Europe that were interested in him. He's now guaranteed through 2027, an option for 2028. I love this move, Kevin. What are your thoughts?
I mean, obviously fantastic. He's he and Miazga back there are just such an incredible duo. I mean, both U.S. men's team caliber defenders on the back line there is just incredible. And then you kind of got that rotating spot next to him. You knew this was a risk of losing him when you brought him in from Atlanta. I feel like it was kind of felt almost like a loan of him, you get him for a season, maybe two, and then, hey, he's good enough, he's going to go play in Europe. This is, great news for us of let's keep him around a little bit longer. And then, have more control. And if, it gives us a longer chance, if he does move up, we get a nice signing, get a nice transfer fee in if he does decide to move on. So more control over such a high caliber player, just as fantastic move for the club. And I hope, he seems like a good guy. He seems, he's got his family at every game and everything like that. It's, hopefully they, are happy in Cincy, and seems like they are. So.
Yeah, well put. I think you do well by the player, and they've shown to do that. Obviously we knew this was coming, or the potential, and why not just say, hey, we're gonna lock you up. We think you're so valuable for this team. We even had you as the captain at one point. When Miazga was out, we think the world of you. Let's go and pay you. That's so different than some of the other Cincinnati teams currently. With what's going on with the Bengals. So it's a breath of fresh air, honestly, just to have this side being able to say, we appreciate you. We see how valuable you are. We're going to pay you properly. He's 28 years old, so if we look at the next couple of years, he'll be 30, 31. I could see him and Miazga being partners for several years and these solid guys in the back that we can rely upon, like we've seen in the last two seasons. So I'm thrilled about it. I think we luck out a little bit on timing, with having the World Cup next year. he's not going to make a drastic move to Europe where he might not potentially play. In my opinion, if he goes over there, he's fighting for, a center back starting spot. Does he play? Does he not? Right now, he's kind of on the fringe of that team, and he probably wants to play in a World Cup, and we've proven to let him go play for the U.S. So why would you not want to stay? You're getting paid more. You're loved by everyone in the city. Like, it's a no-brainer. I think it was like the right fit, the right moment. Just happy that, again, we're being proactive, looking towards the future, because we don't know what's going to happen with Hagglund. We don't know what's going to happen with Teenage, but I think Miazga and Robinson are going to be there, and those guys are your rocks, and that's what we want to see moving forward. So very big move by the club there. That, again, kind of came out of the blue today. Another transaction happened, though. FC Cincinnati to loan defender Amir Daley to Birmingham Legion of the USL Championship. He had 42 appearances for FCC2 and then one for the first team in Champions Cup. He unfortunately broke his clavicle in that match, but did look very promising. It was on his birthday, too, so I felt really bad for the guy. I think Daley had a shout there for a while to be in the rotation for wingback. It's a little bit of an interesting move considering how valuable at the beginning of the season we might have felt this guy was. But right now we have Ender, we have, Powell. He's not going to find minutes. So I think if he's not doing it on FCC2, go to USL and maybe prove yourself in a higher situation like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the first team obviously is the goal for any player, but FCC2 is, great for getting minutes for the young guys. But if he can, I feel like USL is a little bit of a step up from the second league from MLS. So, puts himself in some more high leverage situations, maybe gets some looks from some other teams, can maybe be some trade piece for the front office if he gets some. I think not a bad move by the front office, hopefully good for the player as well. You want to see guys succeed. And if it's not going to be with the top club, put them in a situation where they can succeed elsewhere.
Yeah. Well put. We'll see what happens with him. I don't know if this was officially announced, like the length of the loan. Is it for the rest of the season or into next year? I'm not sure on that one, but we'll see where that goes. We've had, I think, the most loan moves this year of any year I can remember for FC Cincinnati.
Oh, for sure. I feel like a ton of our younger guys have been sent all around the USL.
Outbound, inbound ones even, for us. We're utilizing what we should. I mean, it's a mechanism to offload the roster a little bit, but to give these guys minutes, like you said. So kind of a good win-win there. But match day 30. So this Saturday, we're back at home. NYCFC. We unfortunately lost to them 0-1 earlier on in the season away. Never fun playing, on a baseball pitch. It'd be good to be back home and playing against a New York team, but they just beat Nashville last week. So thank you for that, NYCFC.
Yep.
But also at the same token, we're going to beat you. So I'm ready for this match, being back at home. Their last loss was back over a month ago, July 12th. So they've been on a little bit of a good run of form here lately. Any thoughts about what this one's going to look like, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, so they've been playing really well. They're in the low playoff spot right now, so they're trying to keep, sure up their spot, maybe, move into 5 or 6 is their goal. We're trying to go for a shield. We're trying to keep the top spot over Miami and Philadelphia. It's going to be a tough match. Like you said, baseball field. I feel like FCC never plays well there. They had that comeback game, I think, 2 years ago. That was probably their best match at that field. It's a weird venue. They're getting a new one soon. It'll be interesting to see how that is. But I think bringing the guys home, they've been playing well. They've been starting quickly. I hope another fast start. Roman's back in form. I'm hoping for, some really good saves from him in front of the Bailey. And, I'm looking for, 2-0, shut him down, get some goals, get him early, play with a lead, keep a lead. And, call it a 2-0 win for the boys.
I think that would be a great result, especially with, after this match, Philly and Nashville, I believe, both come to town. So not to look like too far ahead, but to start this, tough run with a win like that at home would be nice confidence. It would be good for the squad, especially with some of the circumstances with injuries. So if we look at Kubo, he's back in training. He's alive. He's in Cincinnati. he got apparently applauded by all the other players for, being back with the full team. So that was funny to kind of see. But yeah, I think maybe he's available off the bench in this one. Anunga's back, so he probably gets the nod in that starting role. Maybe some nice, rest if we now look back on it and say, obviously we wanted him there, but a little bit of nice, rest for him. Luciano, I don't really have an update on him. I don't think he's training yet as well. So maybe a sub possibly. I'm thinking, Kevin, our lineup is going to look pretty similar to what we saw in Portland, if I had to guess, with the exception of Anunga being in there. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, the interesting one will be to see if Robinson's back. Obviously, he left early. He apparently didn't train today. So maybe your back line is Hagglund, Teenage, Miazga. Maybe you bring an Engel on the side there and you put somebody else on the wingback spot. Maybe Powell in there somewhere. Hopefully Robinson's back. I mean, you just want to see your top players playing, but also at this point in the season, if he's got a knock, don't rush him back. I mean, the shield's crucially important, as we've been saying. You really want the hardware, but the last thing you want to do at this point in the season is rush guys back that are in injury. I mean, we got a playoff spot. We know we do. Pretty much, I think there's a small chance we drop out, but that's not happening. So, you just really, I think at this point, you're playing for the shield, you're keeping your foot on the gas, but don't do anything stupid. Don't risk injury on someone that's, maybe got a small knock. Give them, limited minutes, let them work their way back. So, yeah, hopefully.
I think that's a great look at it. I think you're exactly right, because obviously we want a trophy and they want to put their best foot forward, but you don't want to rush guys into it. I totally agree with that too. So if it was precautionary, even him coming out of the match last time, he was able to walk out on his own power. But I don't think it's that serious necessarily. But at the same token, I agree with you. And you have some important matches past this one too. So get healthy maybe in this one. So yeah, that's a good shout for the back line. I still feel fairly confident, with Hagglund there next to Miazga, that third center back piece. Is it Engel? Is it then maybe Ender out wide and then somebody else up top like Dotto with Kevin Denke? So there's a little bit of some intrigue there. I always look forward to seeing the starting lineups, because
me too. I mean, a half an hour before the match every time I'm sitting there refreshing my phone.
They always keep us on our toes with okay, we'll predict this. And then it comes out oh, well, Ender's up top next to Denke. Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but
yeah. So we'll see. I'm excited for it. All that being said, Kevin, you said 2-0 for a victory. I'm going to go 2-1. I don't feel confident, in going with a 2-goal victory yet. But 2-1 at home, I would feel solid about that. I think Evander is honestly trying his hardest to keep up with the MVP conversation. Obviously, we think, and we're biased, that he's up there. But Andres Dreyer and another player down south, let's just say, is keeping him at bay with that. So I think Evander's motivated. He really wants to be in that conversation, and he's going to drive this team, to a victory in this one. So I'm looking forward to that. So I think that pretty well covers NYCFC. Again, being back at home, everyone go and support the boys. We have 5 matches at home, so let's win these ones that you should, and look forward to hopefully a trophy from there. So, Kevin, in closing this one out, we'll give you our trivia question and answer again here, or I guess I'll give you the answer too. So, what is the most amount of road wins FC Cincinnati has had in the season? Your guess was 2023, and I believe you said 7 road victories. Is that correct?
That was my guess, yes.
So it was actually 2024.
Oh.
Last year, we had 11 victories on the road, which was tied for best in the MLS in terms of victory amount, but overall points, we were the best in the MLS. This year, we have 9 road victories, and if we win the last 2, we'll have 11 and the same amount of points that we did last season. So consistently, like we were talking on the break, very good on the road. Let's see the home record kind of turn around a little bit from last year. This year, it's been pretty decent as well.
Yeah, finish the season strong, and hopefully I get on one more pod with you at least before the end of the season. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again to Kevin for joining. Sorry to everyone for being a day later, but we did get awesome news, today, and we got to talk about that. So that was nice. And we'll be back with you guys next week. Go check us out. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, on Chatterbox. And again, thanks again for supporting.